Day number 10 of the 12 days of MLB rankings is finally here, meaning that it's time to rank the best relief pitcher from every team in Major League Baseball. Now, the reliever rankings are always going to be a little bit crazier than most, and it's just because with relievers and how volatile they are, year to year, you could go from being one of the best relievers in baseball to one of the worst. The things I care about, K rate, stuff, you're pitching for such a small amount of time and for such a few amount of innings that it really just comes down to who's nastier than the other guy. So there might be some relievers on here with low ERAs and a bunch of saves that aren't better than guys with less saves and a worse ERA. I'm talking a lot about stuff here, but at the end of the day, I think we all know who the best relievers are in baseball. So remember to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the final two rankings of the 12 days, where we have the top 30 pitchers going tomorrow and the top 50 players in all of Major League Baseball on Christmas Day. Thank you guys so much for the amazing support. Let's get going into these rankings. Getting today's video started at number 33, I've got Carlos Hernandez of the Kansas City Royals. I went with stuff. You could have gone with Chris Stratton, who's probably just a straight up better pitcher, but Carlos Hernandez is a 26-year-old who throws like 100 with a pretty nasty slider, has a crazy high whiff rate at like 30% for a reliever who doesn't really succeed very well. So I went with stuff over numbers. When you're towards the bottom of this list, I wanted to get a little crazy with one of them. Carlos Hernandez is definitely that, considering he has a career ERA at 5 in 200 innings pitched. But I think as a reliever, with that 100+ mile-an-hour fastball and wipeout slider, he has the opportunity to maybe break out next season. Next up at number 32, Steven Wilson of the San Diego Padres. I did not realize how weak their bullpen is right now that this guy ends up being their best pitcher. In 53 innings last year, he had a 3.91 ERA, a whip at 1.170 with a FIP at 4.52, struck out 26% of the batters he faced, but he did walk 12.3%. He's put up good numbers in terms of like ERA over 100 innings pitched, but we aren't really seeing too much as Steven Wilson. That makes you think he's one of the top relievers in the game. My favorite number up next at 31, I've got Justin Lawrence of the Colorado Rockies. Talk about nasty. Justin Lawrence is that. Lawrence should be the closer for the Rockies this year. He actually has some wicked stuff. He throws like submarine sidearm and throws like 95 to 98 miles an hour, which is pretty crazy. Pitchers have a lot of movement. Just look him up. He throws like crazy. I mean, you're watching the videos right now, actually. His stuff is pretty filthy. Pitching in Colorado is definitely not helping him. Can't wait for him to eventually get traded out of that ballpark, because then we'll really see Justin Lawrence pop off. But even still, in 75 innings, a 3.72 ERA with a FIP at 3.76 and a whip at 1.347. Not too bad in Coors in Colorado, with a 24% strikeout rate, 11% walk rate. Not the worst numbers in Colorado, could definitely be worse. Definitely has great stuff. Getting the top 30 started at number 30, I've got Carlos Estevez of the Los Angeles Angels. Estevez started off the year really well last year with the Angels, and I'm not giving up on him yet. Another guy who has some pretty decent stuff, but as the year went on, he just was not as sharp. Made his first All-Star team in the first year, leaving Coors. Shocker, a guy leaves Colorado, pitches better. 62 innings, a 3.9 ERA with a FIP at 3.94, a whip at 1.492, which is just a little bit too high. Striking out 27.8% of the batters he faced, walking 11%. By no means is he one of the best relievers in baseball, but I think in a bullpen that was a little deeper, Carlos Estevez could have a lot of value. Former third-round pick back in the 2021 draft, Mason Miller of the Oakland A's comes in at number 29. Mason Miller had the ability to be a really good starter, but it seems like the A's are going to use him out of the pen. A guy who has battled some health concerns. This is a way to kind of build up that arm strength along with getting the most out of him, because he will be nasty out of the pen. He had great stuff as a starting pitcher. As a reliever, going to imagine it's going to get even better. Last year, he made 10 appearances, 6 starts, 33 1/3 innings pitched, 3.78 ERA, a whip at 1.2, a FIP at 3.47, striking out 27.3% of the batters he faced, walking 11.5. He's super young. He's only going to be 25 years old next season, so keep an eye out for Mason Miller, a guy who was kind of unheralded, went to Gardner-Webb University, not a big college, but has some really nice stuff. It was a third-round pick in 2021, already making an impact. For the 28th best reliever in today's video, I've got Jason Foley of the Detroit Tigers. In this scenario, I went with production over stuff, because if we're talking stuff, Alex Lang by far has the best stuff of the Detroit Tigers. But in terms of success and what Jason Foley can do, he is the best reliever on that Tigers team right now. Last year, Foley really had a breakout season, 69 innings, nice, a 2.61 ERA, a whip at 1.159, and a FIP at 2.73. So all the numbers across the board were telling you that Jason Foley had a really good season. Now, he's not going to strike out a ton of batters, under a 20% K rate, but he did keep that walk rate around 5%, so still very productive. He's a ground ball king. Nobody hits the ball hard off of this guy, and he has the ability to crank up that fastball to like 97, 98 miles an hour when he needs to get a big strikeout. So Jason Foley, really solid reliever in the Tigers pen. I'm telling you, they're building a good little team in Detroit. Back on the list at number 27, I've got Aroldis Chapman, not currently signed to a team, but someone's going to grab him. What a bounce back season Aroldis Chapman had. I mean, won the World Series, obviously with the Rangers, but it really really got started in Kansas City, where the first 29 innings of the season were pretty dominant for him. He got that K rate all the way back up to almost 40%, was walking less batters than he has since basically the 2019 season. Aroldis Chapman honestly just looked back. The fastball had life, the splitter was filthy, the slider was nasty, and it showed in his numbers, where in 58 innings he had a 3.09 ERA with a whip at 1.251 and a FIP at 2.52, striking out 16 batters per 9, giving up no home runs, no hits. Of course, walks are always a bit of an issue, but Aroldis Chapman was filthy, and a team is definitely going to use him next year for sure. Just outside the top 25 at number 26, I've got Adbert Alzolay of the Chicago Cubs. Adbert, not your typical reliever. Like, he's a guy who's middle of the pack in terms of K rate, but really doesn't walk anybody, doesn't give up many hits, doesn't give up many home runs. He limits hard contact. He does a really good job of keeping guys off the bases. He had a really nice season as his first full-time shot at being a reliever. 64 innings, a 2.67 ERA with a whip at 1.016. That's great. A FIP at 3.02, ERA plus at 1.68. Like, everything Adbert did last year was really solid for the Cubs, so much so that he's going to go into the season as their closer and probably get some big outs for them in the 2024 season. Getting the top 25 started at number 25, Alexis Diaz, brother of Edwin of the Cincinnati Reds. Alexis Diaz is a very solid reliever. There's no doubt about that. Good whiff rates, good K rates, like all this stuff looks really solid. A 30.1% K rate with a 12.6% walk rate, like it is down a little bit from the 2022 season, but still very good. In 67 1/3 innings pitched, he had 37 saves on the year, 3.07 ERA with a whip at 1.188 and a FIP at 3.52. He just goes down a little bit on the rankings because he did theoretically have a worse year, but he's still a very good closer. We're starting to get into the realm now of like top relief pitchers in baseball rather than just dudes I need to fill in because their teams don't have anybody. For the 24th best reliever in today's video, World Series champion Jose Leclerc of the Texas Rangers. Leclerc was so big for the Rangers in the postseason, getting big out after big out after big out, and I'm happy for the guy. He's a dude who's battled injury, had some crazy high peaks in his career, and looks like he might be back going into his 30-year-old season. Last year in 57 innings, a 2.68 ERA with a whip at 1.14 and a FIP at 3.62. Leclerc's stuff looked a lot better, got the K rate almost to 29% with a 12% walk rate, which has always been a problem for him. He hasn't reached the highs that he was once at, where he was almost striking 40% of the batters he faced, but he was extremely effective last year for the Rangers and a huge reason why they were able to win the World Series. Heading north of the border for this one, at number 23, got Jordan Romano of the Toronto Blue Jays. Romano's just a really solid reliever. I don't think he's necessarily one of the best in Major League Baseball, but year after year, he just continues to put up consistently good numbers. In terms of stuff, not going to rank the highest, but still, in 59 innings last year, had a 2.9 ERA, a whip at 1.22 with a FIP at 3.46, striking out 29% of the batters he faced, walking almost 10% at 9.7. Just really solid stuff from Jordan Romano, the Canadian native himself, playing for his hometown team. Well, I should say home country team more so. A lot of these rankings has to do with stuff and just like how filthy you are. He's really good, not the most filthy, which is why he's a little bit lowered. One of the most badass dudes in baseball coming in next at number 22. That's going to be Liam Hendriks, not currently signed to a team. Someone's going to grab him though. Of course, Liam Hendriks came back from cancer last year, had a crazy season, ended up getting hurt to end it. I'm not really too worried about what I saw in 2023. Definitely not going to be as good as he once was. Like, I just can't imagine that the peaks of like a 42% K rate with a 3% walk rate is going to return instantly for Liam Hendriks, who's just been battling literally for his life. But there's going to be a team out there that's going to sign this guy and get a very good closer, because when he was at his peak, you could lock him in for 35 to 40 saves a season, didn't walk anybody. I don't think, again, he's going to strike out 40%. Even 25 to 30% would be great for a team. And he's an absolute dog on the mound. He's a dog of a human being just in general. One of the best stories to come out of baseball. Liam Hendriks is a stud. Just outside the top 20 at number 21, one of my sneaky favorite relievers in baseball, Hunter Harvey of the Washington Nationals. Yeah, this dude doesn't look like it, but he throws like 100, has filthy stuff, and the numbers are showing it. After a nice little 2022 season where Hunter Harvey broke out a little bit with the Nationals, he did arguably even better last year. In 60 innings pitched, a 2.82 ERA with a whip under 1 at 0.94. Like, what? Hunter Harvey struck out 28% of the batters he faced, walking only 5%, gets that fastball up to 100 miles an hour. He should be the closer in Washington. He is very good. I think they should give him a shot. One of the few bright spots in that Nationals bullpen. Getting the top 20 start at number 20, still kicking, Kenley Jansen of the Boston Red Sox. Kenley's still a very good reliever. He has his ups and downs. He's a little bit shaky. He's a little scary. But at the end of the day, Kenley Jansen is still very dominant on the mound. 44 innings last year with the Red Sox, a 3.63 ERA, 29 saves on the season with a whip at 1.276, a FIP at 3.66. K rate was a career low though at 27.7%, walking 9% of the batters he faced. So he's not as sharp as he once was, but Kenley certainly is still a borderline top 20 closer reliever in this video. Aggressive ranking here, but at number 19, I've got Gregory Santos of the Chicago White Sox. This dude's nasty. Talk about absolutely electric stuff. Gregory Santos is that. His fastball, filthy. That fastball is just sitting 100 miles an hour. He's got a wicked 90-mile-an-hour slider that nobody touches. He had a crazy low barrel rate last year, the lowest in Major League Baseball at 1.5%, 100th percentile. High whiff rate. Doesn't actually get that many strikeouts weirdly, but the chase rate's so high that I think the strikeouts are going to eventually come. And like, imagine if he was with a smart organization, not the White Sox. This guy could be even better. In what was his rookie season last year, 66 innings pitched, a 3.39 ERA with a whip at 1.296 and a FIP at 2.65. That's pretty filthy. Like I said, doesn't get a lot of strikeouts weirdly, only 22% K rate last year, but a 6% walk rate. Keeps that K to walk ratio at a pretty sustainable spot, and he's only 24 years old. I think Gregory Santos has the ability to be a breakout reliever this upcoming season. It's going to be tough with the White Sox, of course, because they're just not going to be a very good team, so he's not going to be in a lot of save situations, but the stuff is crazy good. For the 18th best reliever in today's video, I've got Clay Holmes of the New York Yankees. Clay Holmes, very solid reliever, another great year, had his ups and downs just like every single reliever. Yankee fans might tell you otherwise, but they were spoiled. They had Mariano Rivera forever. Clay Holmes was still very good last year. 63 innings, a 2.86 ERA, 24 saves on the year, a FIP at 2.65, a whip at 1.75. His K rate was pretty good at 27%. He's obviously a ground ball king, a 66% ground ball rate last year because that sinker is just unhittable at times. Clay Holmes is one of the better relievers in baseball. I mean, inside the top 20, that's pretty filthy. Right around the halfway point here at number 17, Paul Sewald of the Arizona Diamondbacks, my mortal enemy. I gotta give Paul Sewald credit. He was a dog last year. After a couple good seasons with Seattle, ended up getting traded to the Diamondbacks mid-season and was a huge reason why they were able to make that World Series run. He got big outs for them. In 60 2/3 innings last year, split between the Diamondbacks and Mariners, 3.12 ERA with a whip at 1.154 and a FIP at 3.57. While his K rate did drop with the Diamondbacks when he got there, he finished the season still with a 32.1% K rate and a 9.6% walk rate. So Paul Sewald, while his stuff doesn't jump off the page in terms of velo, he still gets tons of swings and misses and still really successful for the Diamondbacks. Number 16, Miami Marlins closer, left-handed reliever, nasty, Tanner Scott. Low-key, one of the better pickups that they've been able to make is getting Tanner Scott into that bullpen. After a bit of a rough 2022, he was dominant last season for them. A huge reason why they were able to make a run to the playoffs, because he gave them 78 innings of baseball where his ERA was 2.31, a FIP at 2.17, and a whip under 1 at 0.98. That's almost half of what he had in terms of whip last season, the previous year in 2022. Scott was rocking a 34% K rate with a 8% walk rate. That's nasty from the left-hand side. With a guy who's got crazy high velo, he might not always know where it's going, but the stuff is pretty disgusting. Tanner Scott, one of the better left-handed relievers in the game right now. Braves fans are going to hate me for this one, but at number 15, I've got Rylan Glacies. Braves fans are going to be mad at me. They're going to be like, 2.7 ERA, you're just a mad Mets fan. Like, yeah, of course, I'm a mad Mets fan. You guys kick our butt every year. But Rylan Glacies, like, I think is really good, but there's signs showing that he's probably not as dominant as we had been used to. Something to keep an eye out for going into next year. Still, was great though. 55 innings, 2.75 ERA with a FIP at 3.26 and a whip at 1.186. Struck out 29% of the batters he faced, walking 6.5%. Like, that's what you can lock Rylan Glacies in for every single season. He's reliable. He gets big outs. He always pitches. Glacies was dominant for the Braves and probably will be again because, of course, he will be because I ranked him 16th and now Braves fans will tweet me this every single time he strikes out a Mets player. For the 14th best reliever in today's video, I've got Andres Munoz of the Seattle Mariners. Munoz, filthy stuff. Obviously electric on the mound, 100-mile-an-hour fastball, wipeout slider. You guys know the drill from here on out. Last year, pitched in 49 innings with the Mariners, 2.94 ERA, a whip at 1.265 was a little bit higher than we were accustomed to with him, but still good enough for a FIP at 2.7, the K rate at 32%, the walk rate at 10%. Like, he has just some absolutely devastatingly nasty stuff. He's only 25 years old. There's a reason the Mariners traded away their closer during a playoff push. It's because they got Andres Munoz, who's just a little bit better. Sneaking in here as a newcomer at number 13, Yennier Cano of the Baltimore Orioles. Him and Craig Kimbrell will probably switch off closer duties throughout the year. In terms of just sheer talent, I think Yennier Cano is the best reliever right now in that bullpen. Of course, because of the Felix Bautista injury. Cano last year broke out, crazy good season, made the All-Star team as a 29-year-old, 72 innings pitched, a 2.11 ERA with a whip at 1.005 and a FIP at 2.84. He has that filthy changeup, like none of the stuff, again, it's going to light up the radar gun, but that changeup just makes him so different than a lot of other pitchers in Major League Baseball right now. A 23% K rate, limited the walks like crazy, keeping it under 5%. Yennier Cano, sneaky, one of the better relievers in baseball right now. Orioles are just such a pitching factory. I got to give the Rat some props here. He's coming in at number 12. That will be Jose Alvarado of the Philadelphia Phillies. Alvarado was simply disgusting last year. There's no way around it. As much as I'd love to hate him because he's a Philly, he was filthy. In 41 innings, a 1.74 ERA, a whip at 1.161, which is huge for him because he was a big walk guy in the past, was able to cut that down last season, and it gave him a FIP at 2.41. Strikeout rate was great, 37%. The walk rate, a career low at 10.5%. A lot of good things that made Jose Alvarado really just so untouchable last season. And I think the Phillies are really confident going into the season with this guy as their closer because he showed them last year he can get big outs in big situations. He couldn't get Yordan Alvarez out in the 2022 World Series, but since then, almost nobody's gotten any hits off of him. Just missing out on the top 10 at number 11, I've got Pete Fairbanks of the Tampa Bay Rays. As long as Pete Fairbanks is healthy, he is one of the best relievers in the game. We saw him pitch a career-high 45 innings last year, to which he had 25 saves, 2.58 ERA, a whip at 1.015, again, nasty, and a FIP at 2.70. Another dude who has an electric fastball, can hop it up to 100 miles an hour. 37% K rate, 10.9% walk rate. The year before, 43% K rate. Like, he has some of the craziest stuff in terms of relievers on the mound in baseball. It's just always going to be a health thing for him. When he's healthy, he's nasty. When he's not healthy, he's not on the mound. He can't pitch, and that hurts the Rays sometimes, but Pete Fairbanks, really good. Getting the top 10 started at number 10, the young fireball reliever Camilo Doval of the San Francisco Giants. Doval is so filthy good. Oh my goodness, a throw in 100 miles an hour with some sinking action, that slider, and it showed in his performance. He made 69 appearances, nice, 67 and 2/3 innings with a 2.93 ERA, a FIP at 2.77, a whip at 1.38. He made the All-Star team, put up a career high in terms of K rate at 31%, walk rate at 9.3% was lower than the previous year, so all things pointing to him improving. Someone who could definitely be one of the top relievers in baseball by the end of the season. He's so young with such good stuff, and the Giants just know how to fix everybody. At number 9, shout out Dave Bednar, Pittsburgh native, Pittsburgh Pirates closer. Second straight season of making the All-Star team. Love to see that for Dave. 67 innings, a 2 ERA with 39 saves, the most in the National League, a whip at 1.099, a FIP at 2.53. The dude loves the city of Pittsburgh. He embodies it. I think they even have like a brand of beer named after him. 29% K rate, 7.6% walk rate. That splitter is filthy. All his stuff is really good. Dave Bednar is just quietly one of the best relievers in baseball. Whenever the Pirates decide to inevitably trade this guy, they're going to get a lot back for him. Dropping him down a little bit here at number 8, I've got Emmanuel Clase of the Cleveland Guardians. Clase did not really look great last year, and for a guy who's never been a big strikeout dude, we saw that really happen last season where the K rate was down to 21%, still not walking anybody, a walk rate at 5.3, which is why he stays in this elite category in the top 10. But you could see that when he wasn't getting those strikeouts, he really wasn't able to get a lot of big outs. Still, a 3.22 ERA, had the most saves in Major League Baseball, which we know is relatively a meaningless stat, but still worth noting. Second year in a row, 72 and 2/3 innings pitched. Oh my God, he did that the year before too. What is happening? A whip at 1.156. A FIP at 2.91, was still dominant, was still very, very good. Again, he's in the top 10, just probably not the second best reliever in the video anymore. For the 7th best reliever in today's video, Bryan Abreu of the Houston Astros. It's an aggressive ranking, but I stand by it. Listen to these numbers. I'm sold. I'm sold on this dude. His stuff is filthy. He was nasty at times. He took over the closer role, then Ryan Presley took it back. Like, Bryan Abreu, whether or not you believe it, is the best reliever on that Houston Astros team, and definitely a top 10 reliever in baseball. Second straight season with an ERA below 2, guys, below 2. Last year in 72 innings, 1.75 ERA with a whip at 1.042, a FIP at 2.98, striking out 34.8% of the batters he faced, walking 10.8%. He was just not getting hit at all. And when you have 2 straight seasons of an ERA below 2, you're cracking the top 10, no doubt. Just outside the top 5 at number 6, I've got Evan Phillips of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Obviously had a sick 2022 where his ERA was 1.14 with a whip at 0.76. Basically did it again last year, 61 innings, 2.05 ERA as the closer for the Dodgers, with a whip under 1 again at .832, striking out 28% of the batters he faced, walking 5.6%. Evan Phillips is just so filthy, and it seemingly came out of nowhere. A guy who was kind of just bouncing around trying to find a home for a bit between the Braves, the Orioles, the Rays, found a home in Los Angeles with the Dodgers and has not looked back, has just been one of the best relievers since going to LA. Getting the top 5 started at number 5, Ryan Helsley of the St. Louis Cardinals. Helsley didn't pitch a whole lot last year due to injury, but when he was on the mound, I mean, the guy's stuff is electric, pumping over 100 miles an hour with that fastball. 36 innings, a 2.45 ERA last year with a whip at 1.064. A FIP at 2.25 just tells you, yeah, he doesn't need much help. He's doing a lot of the work himself. 35% K rate, 11% walk rate after the previous year where he was disgusting again. ERA at 1.25. Like Ryan Helsley, casually just one of the better relievers in the game. For the 4th best reliever in today's video, I've got Devin Williams of the Milwaukee Brewers. Devin Williams is just really good. It's crazy how the Brewers keep doing this. I want to give a special shout out though to Abner Uribe, who is also one of the best relievers in the game. Just couldn't include him in the video because Devin Williams is slightly better right now. But Devin Williams, 2nd straight season of an ERA under 2. Yep, nasty. 2nd straight season of a whip basically at 1. Nasty. FIP is low. Everything he does is great. He obviously has that nasty changeup screwball that he throws, and it makes these numbers even crazier. 58 innings, a 1.53 ERA, a whip at .92, like I said, a FIP at 2.66, striking out 37% of the batters he faced, walking 12%, with one of the most unique, nastiest pitches in baseball. Devin Williams is definitely a top 5 reliever. Speaking of nasty, Jhoan Duran of the Minnesota Twins embodies that, which is why he's coming in at number 3. Jhoan Duran has one of the most interesting profiles in terms of relievers in baseball because he rocks a crazy high ground ball rate at 64.1% and also strikes out 33% of the batters he faces. So in terms of his outs, like 90% of them are ground balls or strikeouts. That's crazy. Crazy for a reliever. After a crazy rookie season in 2022, he doubled down and was just as nasty last season. 62 innings, a 2.45 ERA with a whip at 1.39 and a FIP at 3.21. He's got the splinker. He throws 100. I mean, Jhoan Duran is just filthy. Someone who, if I was a Major League Baseball player, I simply would never want to face. It doesn't feel fair. Just missing out on the number 1 spot. At number 2, I've got Josh Hader, not currently signed to a team, but you know someone's going to grab this dude. After a little bit of a rough patch in 2022, Hader was so back last year with the Padres. A 1.28 ERA in 56 innings pitched with 33 saves on the season. A whip at 1.10, a FIP at 2.69. Nice. Striking out almost 14 batters per 9 innings. Not giving up any home runs. Not giving up any hits. The classic Josh Hader we expect. And he rocked a K rate at 36.8% with a walk rate at 13. He is the best reliever available on the market. He's going to get paid. I don't know by who. Maybe the Rangers. But yeah, this dude is filthy. He was so back. And then coming in at number 1, still the best reliever in baseball despite not pitching last year, it's going to be Edwin Diaz. What Diaz was able to do the last time we saw him on the mound was arguably one of the best seasons we've ever seen a reliever have. 62 innings, a 1.31 ERA with a whip at .839, a FIP at .90. Like what? ERA plus at 297. He got Cy Young votes. He got MVP votes. He was an all-star. You just don't see that often from a closer. He had a 50% strikeout rate in 2022. You came to the plate, 50-50 chance you were striking out. Also, only walked 7.7%. The fastball is nasty. The slider is untouchable. The trumpets are electric. As long as he's healthy, he should be the best reliever in baseball, without a doubt. Mets finally get someone ranked number 1. Really needed that for my psyche. So there they are, the best relievers in Major League Baseball ranked for the 2024 season. I'd love to know what you guys are thinking down in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Who do you think was ranked maybe too high or low? Drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it, as well as subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the content coming at you. Follow me on my social media at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links are in the description. And that's where I'll wrap up today's video. You guys know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video, and this is my most recent upload, so click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow for the top 30 starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. Bye.